don't remember what we did at all to start these.
Usually it was just like, hello, man, welcome to Revival Survival. My name is Nathan. I'm your host, Nathan, or whatever. Something
Wait, you're
like that.
Nathan?
No, that's what I'm saying. What you would say.
Oh, okay. Well, I started recording already, so I'm just gonna use that.
Okay.
What are you? I'm Batman.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Revival Survival. And as usual, I had to pause before I say it because I almost want to say Survival Revival.
I'm your host, Eric Zajac.
And I'm Nathan Grayjack. And this is season 2, I guess, right? I don't know.
Season 2. I like that.
It's been a year.
Yeah.
We'll say that was actually the reason why it's been so long since we made an episode.
Yeah.
It was a season break or hiatus.
Oh, we could do a that, or we could do I like that. I don't want to make
It's
anything
still
else.
Season 1, so it's just a hiatus.
Season 1. This is our
Thing
season
nowadays.
break. Yeah, that's annoying. The most annoying thing in the world.
You love your hiatuses. So the boys are back in town. We are covering Batman today.
Batman. Da-na-na. See, I don't know. Honestly, 1989 Batman, that opening scene
It's so good.
is amazing. It's enough.
So let's get into it. Yeah. You see the matte paintings of Gotham and the cool sets. You got the wee 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 funny sound of police cars. You got the like cell drawn shadow of Batman as he walks away, and it just adds like a mystique to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I've always really enjoyed that.
That's a different universe. Yeah, that's the Marvel universe.
I almost said Mysterio. And I realized that was Mystique still is. So I don't know how to say it.
Right, yeah.
It's a level of mystery.
Mystery. I love it. Yeah, and I just have to point out, like, the beginning of the movie, so good. I mean, obviously introducing the character, but I also have to say there's a lot of leather. Did you notice that?
Yes.
I mean,
Goes hand in hand. Or hand in
Batman
glove,
wears
I guess.
leather. Every police officer is wearing leather.
Are they?
I mean, it's a lot of leather, and I wonder how much it costs to supply a city of police officers with that much leather. I don't know. I don't know. I was going through my head while I was watching. I was just like, wow.
It's a lot of animal skin.
It's a lot of animals. It's a lot of gum. Yeah.
It's a lot of gum. Latex and leather.
Yeah,
Mixed together.
I'm just saying. I'm not trying to imply anything. I'm just, But yeah, okay. So, what did you think, contrast-wise? I mean, obviously, when we saw this movie, we were a little older than when we were in 1989. But I mean, do you remember watching any of the older Batmans at all? Like the contrast between this one and the older ones?
Like older than 89?
Yeah, like
I never saw them until I was older, so
Until you're older,
that wasn't
okay.
in my head at
So
all.
your first-
my first Batman was Batman
was
89.
89,
So
yeah.
let me just say real quick, we are well aware that there are many, many iterations of Batman. There's a 40s version, 60s version with the great Adam West. No disrespect to him at all, but we're going to start by starting with the revival starting in 89.
Yeah.
And we're going to cover the Christopher Nolans and then the more recent DCEU Justice League type Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of three generations we're covering just for sake of time
Sanity.
and sanity, honestly. Yeah, it's a lot. We're not going to do TV shows or cartoons. As much as I love Batman the Animated Series, Mask the Phantasm, those are fantastic.
Very good.
It's for another time. So again, the Tim Burton and the sequels to that one, 89,
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan, and the DCEU, the new ones. So kind of where we're going. So anyway, yeah, Batman 89. That was my first, when I watched that, that's how I fell in love with Batman.
Might as well,
Like
yeah.
he was powerful, he was cool, he was kind of funny, mysterious. I really
Mysterious,
loved
yeah.
it. And as a kid, I didn't get a lot of stuff that was going on along with it that I've had to learn as I got older. Like the absolute level of anger there was at casting Michael Keaton
Yeah.
as Batman. To me, growing up, he was just Batman. That's
Yeah.
all he was.
And he was perfect.
He was
I
great.
thought,
Like, obviously he was also Beetlejuice, but I didn't
Right.
recognize him under the makeup as a kid, so I didn't know that was the same person.
Yeah.
But it was something like 50,000 protest cards were sent in to Warner Brothers over casting him. Like, it was that big of a deal at the
Right.
time because he was such a comedy actor. He was known for Mr. Mom and
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously Beetlejuice was very funny.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was a comedic casting, I guess. But I mean, a lot of that stems from the amazing Tim Burton. I mean, I feel like if it were any other director, it would have been dumb. Everyone hated it.
I think so.
I honestly think so. The way his dark take on the Batman universe, which is true because it's a very dark universe.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like he pulled it off perfectly. He was the perfect person to start out the Batman, the dark series of it, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's part of the people were afraid of when they cast Michael Keaton. They thought, oh, comedy actor.
Right.
It's going to be Adam West reborn. You know,
Right.
and to be clear, like, I've seen the movie now, you know, and it's not awful. Like, it's campy, but if you look at it with the eye of, like, it being kind of meant for kids,
yes,
it's good. You know, as a kid, I can see how it could be taken seriously.
Right.
And there's some real golden parts there where he's, like, trying to get rid of the bomb, and he's like, he can't even throw it in the water because the ducks are there.
Yeah.
Like, the Batman that can't hurt ducks.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, that's like, Batman doesn't hurt anybody.
Right.
I love it. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Like, it's a great scene. It's a great line. A lot of good stuff there. But I think we desperately needed that darker, more realistic Batman. And Batman 1989 was the first one to start doing that. It devolved as the sequels went on.
yeah.
But it definitely laid some really great groundwork. It had its flaws, but it was a good movie. I still love watching it.
I mean, we could sit here all day and say, "Oh, it's amazing, it's amazing, it's amazing," because it was. But you know, I mean, obviously, again, when people watched it, they're like, "It's too dark." But then you go on, as we were saying, with the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, that became so campy. It was like, why am I watching this? Yeah, it was dumb. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there should have been a third that Tim Burton did. Returns was amazing. The first Batman was amazing. You know, hands down.
I guess I have a different opinion on Returns because
really? Okay.
I thought it was like they let Tim Burton off his leash, and it was too Burton for me.
It was.
And like, I love Tim Burton movies as much as the next person, and you like him more than I do, obviously. Yeah. But it was like, I thought it was too much. It was over the top, and I thought the more reined in Tim Burton was a better example in the first one, personally. And
a lot of the cinematography too. Like, I think, I don't know if that was necessarily the case, but that's when you started to see like the grandiose statues. And I remember as a kid when I used to play the Sega game for Batman Returns.
I just think of Strong Sad, grandiose. Sorry, couldn't help.
Sorry.
Grandiose, replied Strong Bad.
The Sega game. I remember that game.
Yeah. Yes. And I remember playing it, and like,
I remember falling off the building and screaming. That was like scary. Yeah.
Yes, I was like, why would Batman fall off a building? But the other part of it I remember the most is when one of the levels you're like fighting the statues. And I remember that like very vividly, like they were pulling some crank and something was coming out of it. And then in the movie, you see those big, massive statues there. And it was just like, completely different take on the last Batman. And that followed through, probably to a fault, to be honest, to Forever and Returns, because it seemed like the city was so gothic. Like, it was architecturally insane, honestly. Right. I don't even know what the word would be for that type of architecture, but it was insane. And I guess that was the appeal to it, too, because Gotham was supposed to be this, metropolis. Not to confuse it with Metropolis, but...
Wait, Gotham? Gothic?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you might have it. I don't know. But anyways, I as soon as I watched Batman Returns again, everything started flooding back. It was just like playing Sega again. Where's this episode going? Okay.
I mean, this is how most of our episodes go, so it's just fine. Okay. Back to kind of setting the stage for it, though. It's kind of hard to remember looking at it now, but in '89, there wasn't other superhero movies being made. Like, when Batman came out, it was like, this is now superhero movies. Yeah. It was the new standard bearer. Right. It had been, I think close to a decade when the last release, several years from the last Superman movie came out, and that 4-part franchise that started up good and ended off not good. Yeah. A lot of franchises tend to do. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't any of the superheroes movies being made before there was Spider-Man or anything else. Yep. And it was like a big cultural phenomenon. I mean, there was, movie tie-ins with every brand, I remember, the Pepsi commercials.
That's right. Was it Pepsi?
Alfred.
Was it Coke? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was Pepsi.
Was it Pepsi? Okay, yeah, I do remember that.
If we get it wrong, be sure to give us hate mail and hate comments.
I swear it was Coke.
I remember there being Doritos tie-ins too, and it was the whole.
Maybe the first movie was Pepsi and Returns was Coke or something. Maybe. I can't remember. I don't know.
I can see Alfred Yeah,
because he was had the tray and it had wings on it.
Maybe it was
or something. Coke. I swear it was red, but
you might be right. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Guess myself now. If I'm wrong, I'll delete the segment.
Ouch.
Post.
Hello, Gotham Cornerstone. Yes, we seem to be down to our last diet Coke.
So anyway, but there are a lot of brand plans. Yeah. It was a big deal. It was at a different time. It was in a different, stage than we have now, where it's just so saturated.
Yep. And if I could go on a tangent,
please.
I mean, we've already been going on tangents, but I remember again another childhood memory. I had the Batmobile, the original Batmobile, as a toy.
Who did?
And exactly. And I remember I used to have a goldfish, but it wasn't gold. It was like a black version of a goldfish, but it was the exact same thing as a goldfish. I don't know what they
Like a
call
toy or a real
No, it was in a
Okay.
whatever aquarium.
Yeah.
But and I called it Batman. It was his name. And I ended up killing it because I put it in the Batmobile and drove it around.
Oh, Eric.
Yeah, I know. And I feel bad to this day about doing it, but I remember because I like stopped really hard, like he was crashing into something. We used to have like a wicker coffee table, and he flew in between the wicker, and I couldn't get my hand in there, so he died a very horrible death. But
In the wicker chair?
under the wicker chair, and where I couldn't grab him.
King of the Wicker People.
So did you go get help to get him out?
No, I tried, but he just died. I don't know.
I mean, you got the dead fish out of there.
Oh,
eventually.
we got it out of there, yeah, but it was already dead by the time it did. Yeah, that's so. It's a bittersweet memory.
Sure. Yeah, you were probably, what, 16?
Yeah, somewhere around there, I think. Yeah. Yeah. What are you trying to say? No, okay.
That you're responsible.
Oh, yes, I'm a very responsible person. That's right. Okay, anyways.
So we usually kind of talk about what led to this revival. You know, I
Yeah.
think it was really the people craving a darker look at Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I think also, obviously, as usual, it was money. People, the studios wanted to go at it. For all its, good or bad, the 60s Batman made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it was famous for, I mean, I was looking up clips of Adam West as Batman later, and he reprised the role in like commercials and PSAs through the 70s.
Really?
He kept returning as Batman during little scenes here and there. It was in the mid 70s. There was this PSA that was made by the government for the Fair Wage Act.
Okay.
And it's pretty awesome actually. It's Batman and Robin like tied up and it's a bomb ticking. And then Batgirl comes in and like, oh thank goodness, Batgirl here. There's a bomb, and she's like, Robin makes more money than me. I've been working for you for a long time, and same work, same employer, has to be the same pay.
That's right.
And he's like, no time for this, Batgirl. And he's like, there is time or something like that.
That's right.
And she goes over and like stops the clock, but it's like, if you think you're not making fair wages, call the Federal Bureau of whatever.
Really?
The little PSA.
Same job, same employer means equal pay for men and women.
No time for jokes, Batgirl.
It's no joke. It's the federal equal pay law.
Holy act of Congress!
But that was like in the mid 70s. Like it was like
Yeah.
over a decade after he was originally Batman, and he kept kind of coming. He's still to this day known as Batman. Adam West too. He was
Right,
Batman.
Batman, yeah.
Like he's still around doing stuff.
Right. Or Mayor Adam
Outside
West.
of like Family Guy fame, I guess for maybe some younger people.
Right.
I mean, it was well before our time, and we still are like, oh yeah, he's
Oh, yeah.
Batman. Like it's just who he is.
Right.
And then the na 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 Batman. My
Yep.
kids still sing that. They've never seen the show.
It's just
But like it's so much part of the cultural zeitgeist that my kids still sing that na 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 Batman.
Right.
They love Batman. My 3-year-old especially sings that all the time. Whenever he puts on a cape, he runs around Batman. Na, 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 na. So it's huge.
I'm curious, have they ever watched any of the Batmans?
They've watched cartoons of Batman
Cartoon, yeah.
mostly.
Okay.
Yeah. My oldest is only 5, so they're
Yeah.
getting close to the age where live action superhero movies are getting to be more of a thing. We've watched a few more Marvel movies with them, some of the lighter ones.
Yeah.
A little bit of Spider-Man, a little bit of Ant-Man with them, just so they enjoyed it, but they didn't watch all of it. They love Incredibles. That's like they love the Incredibles 1 and 2. But not a lot of Batman. We tried watching. One time it was on like TV. We put on Batman and Robin.
We won't talk about that one. No. Okay.
No, because I remember it was Two-Face now, so it was Batman Forever.
Forever. Yep.
And I was watching the Jim Carrey scene as he was turning into Riddler, and I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. The kids were kind of in the room watching a little bit, but they're kind of playing too. Mm-hmm. And then it was showing Two-Face, and he was like flanked by these 2 like women, and they were like scantily clad, and they were like being objectified, and I was like, oh, I don't want my kids to watch this.
Yeah.
And I ended up turning it off because I didn't want to because growing up, like it was flying over my head.
Right.
But those things are insidious, and they seep into psyche. I've had to unlearn a lot of things about how I interacted with the women in my life.
Yeah.
And I'd rather my kids don't have to unlearn things so they can be built back up again.
Which is funny because I recently just rewatched Returns in the original, and Returns really badly Penguin. I didn't notice it before, like how bad he was objectifying Catwoman or any woman for that matter. I was just like, holy crap. I as a young kid, you don't notice that stuff, but it seeps into your mind, like you said.
It's super unfortunate. That was to the point where, there's certain levels where I don't mind the kids watching it, and I just have a conversation with them and say, this isn't okay. But there's certain levels of it where I'm just like, we're going to turn this off.
Yeah.
So they haven't seen that. I'd like to be able to watch, especially my older one, be able to watch, the newer ones, Batman Begins and Dark Knight here the next few years. I love those movies so much.
Yes.
And they have less of that. And in 89, it's not too bad either, I think. But it's not as bad anyway.
Kind of
worth a conversation during it. There's definitely
there's parts.
Yeah, and there's parts in Dark Knight and
Right.
everything else too.
Yeah.
You gotta give kids tools to be able to deal with that by watching it with them sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be a while before we're watching the old 90s ones. So probably watching that scene, it's kind of turned me off to it. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Too
Because
bad.
and
Did you do something else?
well, I was just say because my point was when the Joker, I got the feeling that like the girl he was having an affair with for the mob boss in the beginning, like as he turned into the Joker, he was like basically, I don't know if he was just insane, obviously, or if he was trying to make her look better to him.
Oh yeah.
Because then he started messing, like burning her face
Yeah.
or whatever he was doing, and then he killed her because she wasn't good enough.
Yeah, it was never
You know?
clear how consensual the face scarring was on her.
Yeah, right.
Was she like, oh yeah, I'm down for that to be with you, or was
Right.
it she, in a scary situation, being,
Which him drugging everyone, I wouldn't question that he was doing that too.
I have a feeling
so.
she might have been in an abusive relationship and not.
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
was doing it without her consent. So it's hard to say. It wasn't explored very well.
Right.
But yeah,
And it's the Joker. Like, can we question it? Really? I mean, that's
sure.
just...
But I mean, we have obviously this is right after that. Started off in the TV series, but we have Harley Quinn as an example, and now being new movies being explored more as she is happy to be crazy with Joker. So it's it's possible that that they're trying to play that dynamic up of her being a bad guy too, and she wanted to do that, but they never really said it, so it's hard to say. Yeah, so if you want to talk about, we can definitely get into the next generation there. I know for me, having been brought up on the I keep wanting to say the original 4, but obviously I know there were ones before that. The late 80s, 90s 4 movies there. I was always hoping to be another Batman movie made because I love them so much.
Right.
And, when Batman Begins came out, it was less than a decade after Batman and Robin. So for all I knew, when I first heard about it coming out, I thought, oh, this is a prequel. This is the same universe. It's just going to be a prequel to Batman 89.
Right.
And, this is kind of relevant, I guess, to this podcast, but that was definitely my first real encounter with the concept of a reboot. Mm-hmm. And now it's like omnipresent in culture, but at the time it was still kind of a new thing, at least from my perspective. I was in high school when it came out. Yep. And it was kind of trying to wrap my mind around like what a franchise is and what a reboot is and like what this movie means.
When does it become an anthology? I had to research all that,
Yeah, so I was really confused. Even when up until I went and saw the movie, I thought it was the prequel to the other Batman movies. Obviously, we'd be no stranger to the Batman actor changing, so that wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
And ever since what took place before, it was new Alfred, so I was like, oh, Alfred's always the same, but it's a prequel, so okay, makes sense.
Yep.
So, I remember when I went and saw it with my brother and in the theater, and at the end of the movie, there's that scene where he's like, oh, this new guy's calling card, and he has the Joker card. Yeah. And it's like, oh, okay, this is like a prequel. I thought for sure that's what it was.
Right.
It wasn't until like later that I was like reading about it, and I was like, oh, this is like a totally different thing.
Trilogy, yeah.
Then I watched it again and kind of was paying more attention to some of it, and I was like, oh, I guess this is definitely different.
Yeah.
The timeline doesn't make sense. And of course, bringing his house down was kind of weird, but I thought it could have rebuilt it before the other movie, so I wasn't that concerned about it. So okay, so back to 89, Batman. Because the motif of it was definitely like the 40s kind of vibe.
Yes.
I thought it took place then. I wasn't really sure. So when that scene when Rachel was driving Bruce through town and she was like, people talk like the Depression is over, but it's not.
Right.
I was like, oh, this must be like right after the Depression.
Right.
And it's over for other people, but not over for Gotham.
Right.
Makes sense. Checks out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't. And then later there was some technology and cell phone stuff, and I was like, what?
Right.
Like I was so confused by that.
I was too.
And I still to this day don't know why she referenced the Depression like it was a recent thing in that scene. It was kind of strange.
Like, is it literally from the Depression to this point? It's still that much of a problem there, or was there something that we don't know?
Yeah, I mean that's a long time.
Right. It is.
It's like 70 years.
70 years. Yeah.
So. So for her to say people like the Depression's over, like it's kind of a weird reference. Like
there must be lore. There must be something that we don't know, that there was a Depression in their universe.
Maybe, I guess,
that they didn't explore. I don't know.
Yeah. So I love the theater thinking it was a prequel, but maybe some things were updated. I was confused by it.
Yeah.
Obviously in Dark Knight, the next one, technology plays a much bigger role. But in the first one, it's not as much. You see him kind of training and doing this and that, so it's harder to notice that stuff.
Right. Which I liked. I liked they're showing you how his training began. He wasn't just some kid in Gotham like the TV show. He's just, I'm going to go around and fight crime, or whatever it is. But there, he was depressed. He was gone for how many years, and he came back after he had trained with Ra's al Ghul and
he actually training
right,
martial arts
and ninjutsu and whatever he else did, and he was actually a trained ninja, if you want to say, quote unquote, and learned all of that. It wasn't just that, I'm a billionaire and I'm gonna find this stuff and go out and fight crime. He was trained. So.
Yeah, I left loving that movie. I mean, I really was like, oh my god, what a great new take on Batman. I just loved I loved seeing his training scenes. I love seeing him develop the ideas for the suit. You're going through finding contractors to build this and that. I thought that was really interesting.
Yep. Realistic.
Yeah.
Technology that we have, armor and the cape that you can mold into shapes and perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect stuff.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was the movie didn't make as much money as I think I read somewhere it made less than Batman and Robin at the box office.
Oh, really?
But it had enough of a fan base that was really fervent that they led to the rest of them.
Interesting.
So I know when Dark Knight was coming out, I almost felt like I was kind of in on it before everyone else.
Yeah.
Because it started getting really big, had a lot of media hype. I think people were like, "Oh, another Batman movie," and I was like, "Yeah, didn't you see Batman Begins? It was so good." I felt like I was already kind of there.
Right.
I was ready for it. So that was kind of fun. Definitely the more grounded in reality. '89 made a lot of leaps.
Yeah.
It still had things that weren't, and this was another step up to that.
Right.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
And speaking about why it was rebooted again, obviously this time superhero movies had started to come a little more common. The Spider-Man movies, I think, were really the big ones at the time.
Yeah.
This was still before MCU at first, although later, by the time Dark Knight Rises was out, it was going on just fine.
Because really, Spider-Man was the first superhero movie that everyone went crazy for. I mean, that started that genre of that in the 2000s.
Batman.
Batman did, but it didn't have as much of a following as Spider-Man did, and then started to start the Marvel train, and then obviously DC was first. But
one time I watched an interview. I think it was on the DVD set for the 4 Batman movies, and it had Bob Kane, the creator of Batman, was on it. Some archival footage from talking and stuff, and they had Stan Lee on it talking about his reaction to it. He said when the movies were out that Bob Kane talked to Stan Lee and said, "Oh, where's the Spider-Man movie? Where's your stuff?" Giving him crap about it. And Stan Lee was like, I wish you could see it now. Because Spider-Man was so big at the time when that was being recorded. It was really big.
Yep.
And then when Dark Knight came out, and it was, Dark Knight was the new genre defining, the opus of any superhero movie at the time. It was really called, and in some ways it still is.
Yeah.
It was it was almost back to no, now Batman's the big guy. now we got
all the Avengers,
MCU and the Avengers. Now they're the big ones, and DC's trying to catch up.
And that's good.
Yeah, it's great that they're competing.
Yeah.
I just remember that. That was that point in time when he was right now Spider-Man's the big guy. I think that definitely gave DC the urge to want to do it again because it had done so well.
And that's good. And to be honest, Christopher Nolan kind of was obscure. He did a couple things that people loved. Yeah. But could he do a superhero movie? And I think he did it well. Ever since then, that's kind of set the bar for me. If I hear it's Christopher Nolan, I'm watching it.
Sure.
Just because of that, and I feel like that was kind of the sense with the first of the Batman Begins. It was weird, obscure, and then he was changing how he was doing everything. It wasn't he's just a billionaire and yada yada yada. It was just the fact that he trained, he was depressed, he went back, and now he is protecting Gotham, and I love that. It wasn't just some weird obscure thing. It was, how would one person go from there to there, legitimately.
Yeah, no, and it showed it, and it even showed, in the older ones, the 90s ones, the little flaps on his forearm, the little hooks, they were just rubbery and bendable, and they're just there for looks. And I really loved in one of the training sequences,
Stop the sword.
He blocked it, and I was like, "Wow, they're functional."
That's what they do. Yeah.
This is so cool. I loved that.
Yeah.
And then and also showing that was part of the traditional armor or whatever of people were training with. And that's where he got it from. He adapted that into his Batman armor. It wasn't just I like bats. I'm afraid of bats or whatever it is.
Right.
That's what made it. It was little pieces of his armor were being adapted from his training and from what's available. They talked about sourcing all the different parts of the uniform and the utility belt, and it was this is what I can get with limited resources. And
I feel like he went the same way with the villain too, because up until the point, not did many people know who Ra's al Ghul was, or Ra's al Ghul, however you want to say it.
Ra's, I think.
Ra's al Ghul. The video game says Ra's al Ghul. So, anyways, okay. But the whole point of that organization is to call when something gets to be overpopulated, or they're so corrupt that they must be cleansed. It's a very sobering moment because our society is dealing with that, and I feel like it's not that he's insane or that they're all insane. They're literally trying to do this to fix something.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same motivation that Thanos has.
Exactly.
The Marvel.
Exactly.
He doesn't think he's a bad guy. He knows he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He knows
exactly.
he's a good guy. In his head.
Exactly.
He's trying to fix the problem.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good parallel. Ra's al Ghul definitely thinks he knows he's the good guy. He's doing the right thing, and anything bad.
Yep.
He's not conflicted about it.
And can't understand why he wants to stop him.
Yeah.
I don't understand, and I don't know. I just thought that to me again was the perfect balance of realistic versus I think somebody's just insane because they fell into a vat of chemicals, even though he's like one of my favorite villains, Joker.
No, yeah. I mean, going back to the Jack Nicholson's Batman. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to remember now after seeing Heath Ledger's Batman, but that time was just so perfect. I grew up with that being the Joker. He did such a good job with that. It made him so menacing while still being from a comic book. Still kind of goofy kind of comic book feel to him, but still being like really fun and scary and unique. And the way he killed that mob boss with the buzzer in his hand. It's just really cool stuff like that. And the way he talked, it was awesome. And then Heath Ledger comes along and just totally reinvents it. Instead, he could have easily spoofed off the cartoon or some other version of. He did its own thing. I read that he spent months in a hotel room just focusing on
doing that.
Honing the voice and everything else.
Yeah.
And one thing that's what's different about that, I should say, is, it wasn't like he fell into chemicals and his skin was bleached white. He literally just put makeup on because he wanted to be, he wanted to be different.
Right.
He wanted to be weird, just like Batman put a mask on. You know what I mean? The scars, I guess, were real because there's that scene where he has male makeup where he was in the firing squad or the honor guard, I guess it was.
Still there, yeah.
And you saw the scars. I always wondered, part of me though, if those weren't put on too somehow.
Maybe
self-inflicted, or even just put on makeup to look like their scars. But I guess he would take him off for that. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I just always maybe that story's true, but he told it 3 different ways that we're is that true? I don't know. Did your dad really do it? Or I think they're self-inflicted. I think he is insane, and
he's obviously not.
Well, right.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know. But
yeah, the fact that he was wearing his own makeup just to look weird was really, I thought that was a good choice. And in Joker origin stories, it goes both ways. There's definitely versions of him where he's a comic or a clown or whatever, and he has a history of putting that on, whether his skin gets bleached and chemicals or not. He was doing that before,
right?
As opposed to Jack Nicholson's, where he was just like that and he had to put makeup on to look normal. You know?
I guess what's Penguin's excuse? He was abandoned as a child, and okay, we're done. No, but I agree that with how the origins go. But if we move to Penguin, I feel like it didn't need to be that dark, or it was like taking the simplest idea that we were abandoned at birth because you're different, and then he's insane. I get that and I like it, but at the same time, the darkness, going back to Tim Burton's version of Batman, capturing the level of insanity that he's at. Like, he literally was abandoned as a child, so now I'm going to go around and kill all the firstborns of this city. What's that going to solve? Are you just doing it to do it? Or, that's how, I think that's why I like it so much. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars. It's the darkest. It's, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to kill children. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like it was so insane that it was like, wow, this is good.
I guess that movie, there's so much weird stuff in it that it's hard for me to capture that. The backflipping villains and the weird Tim Burton-y stuff.
Yeah,
it was hard for me to take it seriously in a lot.
And I get that, but again, they're circus performers. That's how I took it. I was just I guess.
I loved that part when Batman is taking over the audio when he's trying to talk on stage. Yeah. And he has a DVD and he's like Ricka, like this now CDs work.
I know. It was so good.
It was such an awful part. But yeah. So
that was really bad. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah.
In the first one too, there was when Joker took over the screen, he put his hand out and moved the screen over. I get he was reminding
the swipe, yeah.
But then it cut to, was it the mayor? He's looking to the side, the monitor. Yeah. What's he looking at?
Yeah. Is the only coming out of that speaker?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I guess that's possible, but it was definitely poor understanding of technology. And it was
only your Undertaker.
I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
real quick, the Brand X.
Brand
my
X,
gosh.
that was so good.
Such a good scene. That
such a good
commercial,
scene, yep.
so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Just the right balance of like silly
Yep.
and like just
Been using Brand X.
yeah, like it's
Like, I
terrifying.
still do that,
because
yeah.
it's like anything in your house could be poison. Oh, it's terrifying, but then it's so silly because it's the Joker doing it, making a really serious situation really silly.
Right.
Great scene.
And as we go on, the reporters like don't have any makeup
Yeah.
on. They're not shaving. You
Yeah.
know, they look horrible. Yeah, it was so good. Okay.
Yeah, I find myself when I'm watching, especially '89 or like Batman Begins or Dark Knight, I'll sit there, I'll just be like, so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
so good. Yeah.
Wow.
How good that was.
Just talk to yourself. Yeah.
I do.
Oh my
I'll
god.
just out loud. So good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it is.
Yeah. So back to Dark Knight Joker, it was like the new standard now, and the new ones, Jared Leto, like it's so different. It was almost like an impossible task for him to do it. It was doomed to fail.
He had to be completely different.
So it had to be so different because it couldn't be anything similar. The similarities between '89 and Dark Knight are really interesting. I was looking up, maybe I'll put a clip in here. I'll drop in a clip about it. The similarities are pretty striking. When some of those scenes between Joker and Batman, they like you're clearly borrowing and kind of rhyming off other Joker movie.
Yeah.
Both movies begin with a robbery that ends up introducing a character from the comics, the Batman and the Joker. Harvey Dent is a newly elected district attorney, and he gives a speech vowing to clean up Gotham streets. Meanwhile, Batman has secretly been filming his love interest. The Joker comes to power by taking over the city's mobs, and to display his power, he kills a mobster in a very creative way. There's also a cinematic moment where the music stings and the Joker reveals his face to the audience. Both Jokers frequently kill their own henchmen and ride around in vehicles with personalized paint jobs. In one scene, the Joker attacks in broad daylight as Bruce Wayne watches. The structures of the movies are also very similar. The first time the hero and villain meet is when the Joker interrupts an opulent gathering, where he threatens the hero's love interest, who he will later kidnap. Batman saves the love interest and they escape from the villain. Later, the hero and villain meet and have a personal conversation, but do not fight. How you wanna get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. The Joker later uses the airwaves to foment public distrust of Batman. Both Jokers show that they don't care about money and feature scenes where they bring out the worst in the people of Gotham City. Batman and the Joker have a face-off on an abandoned street where the villain's plans are foiled by cables and grappling hooks. He stole my balloons! Then the Joker asks Batman to kill him, but Batman ends up crashing his vehicle instead. Batman has to fight his way through a tall building filled with henchmen to get to his final encounter with the villain. The Joker points out their similarities and ends up dangling from Batman's grappling hook. And each movie ends with Commissioner Gordon basically saying, hey, Batman's awesome and we need his help.
I'd have to watch it again, but it wasn't in that one in Suicide Squad. He was like a drug dealer, something like that. Like he was literally dealing drugs, and that's how it started. He was a mob boss in that sense.
I'm not sure. I was talking about '89 and Dark Knight.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The storyline for Joker is really similar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Suicide. I don't know if Suicide went very well. I watched it once. It took me 3 days to watch it.
Oh, really?
I kept having to stop.
Yeah.
I was like frustrated and like
Yeah.
bored, and so it's hard for me to remember what even happened in a lot of it. I did not watch it again for the podcast.
No. Yeah.
No, I probably won't watch it again.
No.
I mean, I get that it won an Academy Award.
Yeah. But I think a lot of it was just that I never was interested in Suicide Squad, so a lot of the villains that were in it was like, who are they again? Who like Killer Croc. I know Killer Croc, but the other ones really I didn't. Besides, no, not even Will Smith. I don't even remember. He was, what was his name? Oh
Deadshot?
God, Deadshot. That's right.
I knew Deadshot from some of the cartoons, so I was kind of like,
I only knew Deadshot. I mean, I've seen him in the cartoons, but I more knew him from the games when I played the Arkham Asylum.
wow, I didn't play this.
Yeah. So that's when I first learned of him. And then obviously Harley Quinn and Joker. And I was like, okay, who are the other people? I know Killer Croc, but that's it. Like, I don't know anything about any of the other ones. And
Sure.
so it was interesting to see new characters and to see how they developed, if they even really, you could technically call it that. But I mean, it's not like I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was an okay movie. It wasn't the greatest movie in the world, but it was a good superhero movie or villain movie or whatever you want to say. I don't know if they have plans to make another one. I think I've heard it's in the works. But
they do. Well, I have stuff to talk about that later.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll talk about future.
I'm sorry,
franchise.
I keep going tangent.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
When we get to the franchise future coming up here,
You bring up things that I just...
I got some stuff to say about that. But
Okay,
it's
yeah.
Wrapping up some of the stuff about the Christopher Nolan series. One thing I really loved about Dark Knight was the ending, how Batman said, I can take it, it's what Gotham needs me to be.
Right.
It led to like almost like a cultural meme of people
Yeah.
saying like, oh, I can take it, I'm Batman.
Yep.
It can redefine like who Batman was in the minds of people, I think.
Right.
That he's not just a hero, but he can be the fall guy.
Yeah.
Like,
And yeah, that's...
which is wonderful.
Right.
It's such an interesting thing of like the hero being the one who is not, like Superman is like
Right.
this shining example to strive to. Batman's the guy that makes decisions you don't have to make.
Right. Is he a villain?
Yeah.
I think was a big, like, because when he first appears, like, is he good? Is he bad? He's a vigilante. He can't do that. He can't go around justice or the law, basically. But then that's how it turned into, he is the bad guy. We need to pin it on him so that Harvey Dent doesn't get the,
Right.
besmirched fake image, basically.
Yeah, that's how it ended.
And yeah, and that's that brings me to another thing. Two-Face. Did you like Nolan's Two-Face?
Yeah, I did.
You did. Okay.
Loved it.
Because I mean, he was good. I loved it too, but it was so short.
It was.
It was very short.
Where is Harvey Dent?
I honestly thought something was going to happen. He was going to go into the next one.
I was really hoping he'd be in the next one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But because I thought, is he actually dead? Did he just die?
Yeah.
Like he's been in the movie for 10 minutes. You know.
Yeah, it was great. You know, because seeing the White Knight, you know, fall
Right.
and how quickly he went from one sense of justice to another was really interesting. The classic Two-Face coin flip is just I always thought that was really interesting, and he was almost beat you over the head with that like it's gotta be fair. He kept saying fair like that.
But it was necessary, I feel. Like even though I was upset that he died that quick, it was necessary. It made the movie. Right. There's there's a reason behind it, and I think it was perfect. It was perfectly done.
Hold that thought. Okay, so what I remember now is, so I said, you know, he had one sense of justice, but definitely wasn't perfect in that, because there's a scene at the dinner table where he was talking about how the Romans would appoint one person to lead the city when they're under attack. Yeah, like for an elected official to basically promote like fascism was a little scary.
True,
I was like, okay, so maybe he's got some flaws. I definitely liked that, and how the movie overall took a look at how fragile our democracy is. Yeah, where you know when you're under extreme attack, you know, the Romans appoint Caesar, the United States passes the Patriot Act. Yep. You know, and then at the end we have the vote on the ferry if they're going to kill the prisoners or not. Yeah. And it was like
down to a vote.
Yeah. Down to a vote.
Yeah.
And as weird as that seems, I was like, we vote to kill people in this country all the time, in this world, everywhere. You know, we still have the death penalty. We vote elected officials to go and let people die under them. We vote for Congress who goes and votes to wage endless wars in the Middle East and around the world. And like one of my favorite parts about Joker is when he said, truck full of soldiers dies, no one cares. Yep. You know, one person here home, oh my God, everyone loses their minds. Put a magnifying glass on how absurd it is that we can just like vote to kill the other fairy like that. And that's fine. And the vote wasn't even close. It was like, not even close. Yeah. But then when it came down to it, one of the guys that obviously voted for it and was going to about it still couldn't do, he couldn't be the one to actually do it. You know what I mean? Like no one wants to be the one to do it. You just want it to happen. Someone else to take care of it.
Because that was the point. It was one was full of normal citizens or people that haven't been convicted of anything, and then
not
they were
necessarily
convicts.
hadn't committed a crime.
Yeah, not convicted, but not necessarily good people either. That's the thing. Like they could have been all bad people or whatever, and then the convicts were just the ones that got imprisoned for something. Yeah. You know, so
and they're the ones that threw it out the window.
I mean, I don't know. It was again a realistic point of view that we all can relate to, and it's like, wow, what would you do in that situation? You know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Yeah. I'd probably jump in the water, but you know.
I'm surprised no one did that. Swam to shore. That seems.
It might have been cold out, I guess.
Someone would have tried it, I feel like.
Ooh, it's a little cold though.
Okay, so back to your point. I asked you to put a pin in there.
I don't remember what the point was.
I remember it.
Okay.
Before
You got it. Okay.
The whole point of the movie was, you know, Harvey Dent and how he had to be the good guy. But what I thought was a little bit disappointing about The Dark Knight Rises, which I also loved, not nearly as much as the first two, was that it like erased all that. Yeah. It was like, but actually, it doesn't matter.
Right.
All the lessons of Dark Knight, forget about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
That was frustrating. I mean, Bane was cool. I liked him. The City Under Siege stuff was fun. I definitely liked. In the comics and in most cartoons, Batman's never alone. Like, no, Robin was introduced like a year into the comic series run originally, and since then he's always been with them. He's always had different versions of Batgirl, Batwoman. He's had Nightwing and a few others, you know, around. But in the movies, with very few exceptions, it's always just Batman. You know, it's. So it was nice to kind of see that expansion of the team a little bit, obviously in a little bit better way than Batman Forever and Batman and Robin handled it. Yes. Again, the City Under Siege stuff, the kind of how bad it can get when it gets bad, it was interesting. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was definitely to another level, but it's kind of what we saw in Batman Begins when he took over the city with the gas, held a hostage. Yes. And then Joker kind of held the city hostage with his get out now or take over. It was like they keep doing it, but stopping short. And all of a sudden they're like, okay, now we're going to actually put the city under siege. They're going to blow the bridges up this time, you know? Yeah. Because apparently it's an island or something. I don't know. I never understood how Gotham was situated.
I mean, Gotham was obviously, I'm pretty sure, mirrored after Manhattan.
See, I always thought it was Chicago, and something was filmed in Chicago.
Well, it was filmed in Chicago.
And you know, Metropolis, I always thought Metropolis was New York. Gotham was Chicago. That's what I always thought growing up.
I thought this again.
And real quick,
go ahead. Yeah.
In The Dark Knight, they say, what about the land exits to the east? And there's bridges to the west and
yeah.
in other directions, but they said about land bridges or land paths. But then all of a sudden, in Dark Knight Rises, it was all bridges and tunnels.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. Go ahead.
My thought, again, this goes back to when they started doing Justice League too, but I always understood it as Metropolis was Los Angeles and Gotham because there is a Gotham, New York. So I always assumed Gotham was just New York. And that makes sense because then Superman's by himself doing his own thing and Batman's by himself doing his own thing. But then in the new ones, they're like in the Bay version of like, oh, here's Metropolis. These massive cities are right next to each other. They're literally just suburbs of each other.
That was frustrating to me.
Oh, my God, so mad.
Batman vs. Superman. It was, when they were like, across the Bay. And he's like this great reporter, but he doesn't know who the super famous rich guy is in the same
10
city.
10 feet away. Yeah, exactly.
It was Clark Kent, you're not a good reporter. A lot of problems with that.
And at the end, they were waiting for Superman. It's like, he's coming from across, or like he was coming from across the Bay. He literally could have gone from Los Angeles to New York in 10 seconds. And been there. Like, there's no reason to make it that close, you know?
Yeah, like Superman, he could have, he's super fast.
Because he's super
they
fast.
don't need to be close.
Right.
He can get there.
Yeah. he can do it. Batman has the Batwing. I mean, even though it might take a little longer, but he can do it, you know? But yeah, it's interesting because that's where they get, if we're going to the Batfleck universe, can we do that one now?
So let's roll into it because that's kind of how it goes. So we're rolling into the next one now. DCEU.
Ooh, European. Oh, good. Yeah.
Real quick on that though. I noticed in the Nolan ones, I never noticed it before, but rewatching it for this, they made the Major Crimes Unit. They kept calling it MCU. This is right before the Marvel Cinematic Universe became the MCU. Yeah. So it was like, down the MCU. I was like, what? I kept getting confused by that.
It's a different universe. How different do you like the differences in the Batfleck versus the Nolans? I mean, because it's such a different contrast. I feel we go from him fighting justice, really being non-lethal, to be honest, to Batman and Ben Affleck being Batman. What can we put a name? Can we say Batfleck? Is that a good anthology name for that, or should we say like Justice League?
I usually been saying DCEU.
DCEU. Okay, I'll do that.
Extended universe.
So in the extended universe for Batman, guns. First thing I saw, Batmobile has guns on it. I mean, it did in the very first one.
It did in all of them.
It did, but I mean, it was like he only ever used them for opening, like the one he cut open.
That perfect rectangle.
Yeah, the rectangle.
And then in Dark Knight, they had loiter mode, the intimidate mode was blowing stuff up.
Yeah, and that makes sense, obviously. But in this one, he was actively shooting at cars going by. Like there were cars following him, remember, and he was like, it was gunning them, and it was shooting at the mortars it was firing, and because then it sliced one of them.
Were they lethal shots, or they just did?
That's what I don't know. Like I feel like, I mean, okay, now we're gonna jump a little back farther because now I just remembered something. Batman Returns, when he was fighting in the very beginning of all the circus guys, they landed on his hood, these bad guys, and he stopped really sharply, and they flew into a cafe or whatever, right? And then he puts that pedestal down and lifts the Batmobile up and twists himself 180 degrees and then lights the afterburner and lights this guy up on fire. I'm like, there's no way someone's putting him out. He's dead. He is gone, you know? So he killed people. It was just as dark, but I never really got that because I always thought he was the non-lethal Batman. And no, I guess he just killed that guy, you know? So, but he's a bad guy, so nobody cares. And he put the bomb on that big bulky guy and threw him in that. Do you remember that part?
From Forever?
From Returns.
Oh.
There was like a bad guy and he had like a stick of dynamite or like the bundle of dynamite with a clock on it. It was a very, campy.
I haven't watched Returns in a long time.
Okay, so anyways, he takes it from one guy and then the big bulky guy comes out like, oh, I'm going to beat you up. And then he sticks it on his chest and pushes him down like a shaft and he blows up. So, he's dead. Okay. So, there are a couple things. But then, jumping to the forward here, I think that was the very first thing I took out of it. Was like, wow, I like the Batmobile. It was cool. But he was actually actively using some sort of projectile against people in the EU, the DCEU. Yeah. So I just... The European Union. Yeah, the European Union. I want to say it, though. So
you can say Batfleck, but moving forward in the DCEU, Batman's not going to be played by Batfleck anymore. So it's hard to...
I want to put...
That's coming up later.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess that was the biggest thing I took out of it because honestly, I didn't think Ben Affleck playing Batman was that bad. Did people have I don't remember there being a lot of backlash when they... I remember there was when it was announced.
Sad Fleck,
right.
Sad Man.
And that's where Batfleck comes from. Yeah, I know when it was first announced, but when he he got it and he played it and you saw the character, I honestly didn't think he was that bad.
Job.
I thought he did pretty good. Yeah.
I've always had kind of a, like, whenever I see Ben Affleck or Matt Damon in serious roles, I'm always kind of like, ugh.
Matt Damon.
Yeah. Both had roles that helped me, like, get over that. Like, Matt Damon when he was in We Bought a Zoo. I love that movie. He was really good in it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it took me a while to get over him being in, like the Bourne Identity. I couldn't take him seriously in that.
Yeah.
So I had a similar thing with Ben Affleck, but he did pretty good.
Yeah,
like, as much as I dislike overall the DCEU, I think it's not the best shared universe at all. He did pretty good. He was really good at being Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
I thought.
Yes.
That was important.
And the house still hasn't been built, by the way.
House.
And all through the Nolan Batmans, his house was still burnt to the ground.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
He rebuilt it in Dark Knight Rises.
Did he? I can't remember.
They had a party in his house.
Did they? Is that his house, though? I thought that because they had, like, the underground layer under that lake. Remember that? And he had a house, but it wasn't his mansion, I thought. The only reason I bring it up is because when Ben Affleck was, like, walking through his house, it was a burned-out mansion. And it was overgrown with leaves and trees, and, like, they hadn't fixed it yet. You know, that's why that popped in my head. Like,
but it's not the same universe.
I guess it's not, but that's what I'm saying is they're taking those cues. Like, his house was burnt down in Batman Begins. He didn't have one in the second one. He was in the underground layer.
Yeah.
And then it's still into the Ben Affleck. He was in that underground layer in the lake, and it, like, because it would open up and the you know, and these things would come out of it, and it was like a pond or something.
Yeah.
So that's I kind of was getting like, oh, they're trying to continue that idea that maybe they are the same universe and just different person. I mean, you know, obviously that's not.
But it's not.
It's not. You know, it's not the same universe. But that's what I'm saying. They're trying to take those.
They definitely
cues.
made it seem like it could have been because they had like
right.
this bat suit with the Joker.
Right.
And at first I thought, oh, maybe Joker's like gone now, but he used to be. But then Suicide Squad, he was there and he was young, so it wasn't really the case.
But that's where I was going with that too. Remember in the case, that's what you're talking about. The case with the Robin's or Nightwing suit, and it said "ha ha ha." Mm-hmm. That what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That part of it. Okay, because that. If you read the comics, that was, I want to say, Jason Todd, and the Joker tortured and killed him, or so Batman thought. And it turned out that Jason Todd actually turned into a version of the Joker. So, and that was kind of like the ultimate payback for him, is like, I just turned your, you know, Robin, your sidekick, into what I am. Like, he tortured him so much he went insane, you know. And there's a younger version of Joker now. And that's why I always thought that the Joker...
You think Jared Leto might be...
That's why we thought Jared Leto was him, because why would they show the ha 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 Nightwing, you know, I killed your apprentice, basically. Why would they show that if it's not saying that and I thought that's where they were going with it, because they were getting away with saying the other Joker died and now it's the new Joker, and he's not even the same. I think, like, he really isn't. He's a gangster, drug dealer. He's damaged. Yeah.
That's what it says.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I went, okay, I can get aboard with this Joker, because he's just different. He's a different person. But maybe not. I don't know. I guess maybe we never know the answer to that. But.
Yeah, I'm okay with different iterations of Joker. Obviously, that's, like I said before, you can't try to compete with what was already there.
Right.
You know, Heath Ledger was so good. Even Jack Nicholson still holds up. He had to go something different route. Some of the previews I was kind of excited about I remember when he was like, "I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you real bad."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of creepy. I like that, you know." But then it didn't play out well. Like, in Suicide Squad, he really was not that scary. He was just kind of a joke.
And he was in it for
not like a Joker joke.
Right. A total of maybe 30 minutes.
He wasn't very much either.
Maybe not even that much, really.
Yeah.
Why should I fear him? He's not scary.
Some white guy.
It's some white guy, the gangster. It's Eminem, you know, running 8 Mile. And like, okay. I mean, he was still very abusive, and Harley didn't really know. Although I think that's what kind of got me too, is towards the end, even how Harley went with him or tried to, it didn't feel like she was insane as well, because that's kind of the whole Harley Quinn thing, Joker. They're both crazy, and they're crazy in love with each other. Even though it's such an abusive relationship, it doesn't matter, you know. And I didn't feel the same chemistry between Jared Leto and what's her name, Margot Robbie. Yeah. It just...
Gay bats.
She was literally she loved him. That was it. It was love. And I get that. Puddin'. Yeah, she's a puddin'. Mr. J.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun character. Like, she was created for the animated series, and it got adopted by the comic books, and it got reimagined in movies. Yep. Like, she's had this whole evolution. Now she's in kids shows too. Like, as creepy as like adult as she usually is in some of the comic iterations and in the new movies. Yep. Like, she was originally in the kids cartoon before, and now she's in another cartoon for kids, and she's a good guy now. She's along with a good version of Poison Ivy and Batgirl, I think.
Oh my
I
gosh.
kids have watched a couple episodes of it. It's a computer animated, geared towards little kids, and they're like in school or something. They're
Okay.
I'm not even sure if it's them or if it's like their kids kind of thing, like Monster High type thing.
Oh.
It's kind of like that feel of like it's like no, they're all kids in like school doing this stuff, learning their powers. It's really weird. It's not good.
I don't get those shows because like that person didn't even turn into Poison Ivy until
it doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
It's made for kids. Made to make money off of kids.
Yeah,
It's all it's made.
exactly,
It's not canon. It's just made to make money for kids.
Keep it canon. Okay.
Keep calm and canon on.
That's right. But that's I was going to that too, because even the Batman games, Arkham Asylum and on and on and on, like the best iteration of Harley Quinn I feel was in that game. Like I know you didn't play it, but I mean if you ever do, Jesus, is it good. You know.
I mean, it sounds like a good game. I don't have the system or anything. I don't invest in it, but yeah. So going over Justice League, some things on that. Danny Elfman returned as the music, the score for it, just like in Batman '89.
Yep.
And you can definitely tell. Like, there was definitely a lot of scenes where I was like, "Oh, that's Danny Elfman."
Yeah.
That's all him all day.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of parallels to the music of the original of the 1989. For me, it's the original. It's always hard. It
is. Yeah.
It's I heard a lot of parallels to the 1989 Batman score, which I really liked.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
It was. I feel like I don't know if they were trying to like what's I'm trying to, because really the only time we saw Batman was Batman versus Superman. Like it wasn't even his own movie for Ben Affleck really. And I feel like okay, I get it.
So far,
there's too many Batmans. We don't need another one. I like that. The other thing is like why do we keep seeing? Were you ever annoyed by how many times we saw his parents die?
Yes.
To be honest. Okay. Because it's kind of like the Uncle Ben thing. Like, okay, he died. We know that. Everyone in the world knows that.
Yep.
Don't keep.
And that's why Homecoming didn't show it. It was fantastic.
And it was amazing. And it was. I mean, it just takes you out of the moment. Like, yes, it's sad. We know. But don't get started on that.
I will say that the opening sequence where they showed his parents dying in the new ones, was good. And it was a good version of it.
It was better. Yeah. It was just a harp they kept playing.
It didn't need to be played.
It didn't. And I think that's kind of what killed not necessarily the whole thing, but Forever and Batman and Robin, because it was always like, oh, it was the Joker. No, actually, it was this person. No, actually, it was this person. No, and it just kept changing the story of like it was Two-Face. No, it wasn't Two-Face, and then it just kept on and on and on and on. And like, do we care? Do we even care anymore?
Yeah.
You know, his parents died. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Because they even in Gotham, the TV series, I think it's different. It's a different person.
The Nolan ones, there was just a random bad guy, which was you made me. Well, freaks like you made me.
Right.
It wasn't like you did it. It was evil did
evil
it. You
did
know?
It, yeah. And that's what I assumed. It was always just like him, a mental thing. Like he was just always associating whoever he was fighting with whom he killed his parents, and that was kind of his motivation, I guess. I don't know. I hated that part. Anyways,
Justice League.
Yeah, we keep going back.
A few notes I had on the movie in general, not necessarily Batman, but some things I thought were interesting as far as Wonder Woman. She was in there. I thought it was funny that in Wonder Woman the movie, you know, they were taken over by superior technology in World War One. Like 100 years later, they still didn't change it all, and they were overtaken by superior technology again. It's like, okay, come on, ladies. Like, I made a little each of them. I tried to anyway. Aquaman, I was kind of like, how does this guy move underwater? Like his storyline is really sketchy. And now that, of course, we've seen the movie Aquaman, and it's even there's so many just weird things about it.
I know.
Like only highborns can breathe out of water. Like why?
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me. Like so much of it doesn't make sense.
I honestly
Zero's wrong with the Flash. Flash is perfect. Superman.
Yeah, okay.
I do like the Flash.
Okay.
Superman, and this is the common problem with Superman always, is that he is so powerful.
Yeah.
Why does the best Justice League even exist? You know, like I get that there's the kryptonite thing.
Yeah.
But like that's it. You know, and it even didn't show definitively that the Flash could go faster than him. It had him like going as fast, possibly faster because he caught up to him in that one scene. They didn't show how the race ended, which I was upset about.
Yeah.
He's obviously stronger than Wonder Woman and obviously Batman. And you know, it's
I think there's a point to that though, because even though he's that powerful, Batman still took him down. I mean, really, I mean, he could have killed him, obviously, but their parents are named the same, so that kind of changed it. Oh god, we did not touch on that. Martha. But that's always been the point for me. That's why Batman's my favorite, because I mean, Superman obviously is the superior person, the superior strength, anyways.
Yeah.
But Batman, he can take him down. He knows what to do, the technology, whatever he needs to do to take him down, and he'll do it.
Yeah, he uses his brain, as well as his muscles. The world's greatest detective.
Yeah.
And you know, that's another through line that's been kind of frustrating through the movies. They've gotten better. You know, like in Dark Knight, especially, he did use technology and used his deductive reasoning to get through some things, but not as much as he could have. And in the DCEU movies, he was definitely using his resources and his mind to detectivize things. He's the world's greatest detective is his name, but I feel like in the movies, especially because it's easier to sell things with big explosions, they skip over that a lot. So that's one of my hopes for the future moving forward. When he gets his own solo movie, is going to be that he's a detective. Yeah, and that's what makes him fun to watch, because even though he's a rich pretty boy or whatever, like it's nice that he has that thing going for him, kind of like Tony Stark. Like he's not a superhero except for he has a suit that he built himself. Yeah, but the fact that he built it himself, as opposed to like War Machine or whatever, and he can figure those things out. He's a good scientist. He's on par with Dr. Banner and stuff like that, and they work together. That was good, and we didn't see enough of that. I think in any of the instances of Batman, he wasn't smart enough.
How bulky can we make him? How strong can you? How many push-ups can you do to make yourself look good for this movie, rather than him just being smart?
Eric pointed to his head.
Oh, I did. Yeah, dang it, we're on radio. So that's what I mean. Like, that's why I feel like he's better. You don't have to be the size of the Hulk to be a good superhero. And even in the when they did Justice League, even then it was he's getting old. He hurts. He's got bruises all over him. He's not like any of those superheroes that can take that. But he still chugs on. And I like that. I love that. I've always loved that about Batman. Yeah. I don't know.
One thing I noticed about in both of the newer two sets of the New Millennium Batman movies.
Oh yeah,
lumping Nolan and Batfleck together, was a lot more often they'd say the Batman.
Yep.
As opposed to in the older 80s, 90s ones, it was always just he was Batman.
Batman. Yep.
And then they started we're gonna get the Batman. The Batman became a lot more prevalent, and I think part of it was to set it apart a little bit, maybe, or I don't know. Yeah. But you ever notice that? What do you prefer?
I kind of like the Batman.
Yeah.
I feel like because everybody was like, oh, he's a guy that dresses as a bat. He's the Batman. I always felt like that was a more natural. Like, he is Batman, obviously, but if I were to see him, I'd like, oh, it's the Batman, I don't know.
You don't say the Superman.
Yeah, because nobody knows his superhero name. Like, he knows himself that he's Batman. Yeah. But everybody's like, oh, it's the Batman. I just feel like it's more natural.
When he says, I'm Batman, as opposed to I'm the Batman.
I know, but you wouldn't say I'm the Batman in normal speech, sure. I guess. So.
But, like I said, Superman, he's the Superman. I don't know, so it still isn't.
See, to me, it's Superman.
Well, yeah. Confused me why he's the Batman.
I know, I don't know.
Most people aren't.
I don't know.
We have the Flash is the Flash.
The Flash, yeah.
The Cyborg is just Cyborg.
I wouldn't say Flash, Flash would indicate something else to me, but it is weird.
It reminds me, this is so off tangent, but the difference between in Star Trek, Enterprise and the Enterprise.
Yeah.
They say the Enterprise quite a bit.
They do, yeah.
Sometimes they say the Enterprise too, but they almost never say like the Voyager.
No.
They say the Defiant.
Yep.
It's always the. It's not just Defiant.
Yeah.
Almost always in that case, but then Voyager's always just Voyager. It's like what is it about some ship names or superhero names that make them the and make them not?
I think I thought about this a little while about watching Voyager because she said it one time and I was like, that sounds so weird. No one's gonna take over the Voyager or something like that, and I was just like, that is so bad. It doesn't sound.
But why not?
I know.
And sometimes people even say things like the gout as opposed to gout, or like the flu is the. Wow. But you don't say like.
Never thought about that.
You say a cold, but not the cold.
Right.
It's I don't know. Strange. It's one of those things that keeps me up at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is. Why something's have the before and why things don't.
Yeah.
And it seems so natural. You can just say, oh, it sounds right, but
I know.
Why?
It is strange. I don't know. What are we recording right now? This is a grammar.
Welcome to Grammar Talk.
Grammar Talk.
With our host, Kelsey Grammer.
Hello, Seattle.
I love you.
I'm listening.
That's what we're missing. We're missing people calling in. You know.
Well, it's not a live show.
I know, but we need to have like Ryan call in or something, or Paul.
So just so everyone knows, Ryan and Paul are friends of ours that we haven't talked to in a long time.
Oh. Making me cry.
Okay, here's something else in my notes. The bat voice, especially when he uses it among friends, is always kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It was a joke. It was something he made fun of a lot in the Nolan movies. Mm-hmm. He used it to Gordon even though like why?
Yeah.
But then doubled down on it in the Justice League. He was talking to literally just like his fellow superheroes with his mask on. All of a sudden he's like, "Rrr," and I'm like, they all know who you are, Bruce.
I always just assumed it was a voice modulator because
maybe with the Batfleck.
Well, because when you put on the metal suit,
the metal suit, I can
it was
see.
like but he had his open mouth, so I just assumed it was always like some sort of voice modulator that he always used. Do you believe?
Yeah, that,
You know,
I mean,
yeah.
again, when I saw that preview, I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
Then it didn't. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't love it.
No. He shouldn't do it, but yeah. I was gonna bring up something too. Because we talked about the other ones with Nolan and obviously Tim Burton, but was it Schneider? Is that his name, right? Started taking a back seat to everything else when he took over the direction of the
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder. There you go. Because we're like, oh man, we didn't want him to direct it, but even though the movie doesn't do as great as it should or it could, they continually bring him back to be the director of those movies.
Until they didn't. I mean, they fired him halfway through production of Justice League. They had to reshoot things and redo it and rework it with the Marvel guy.
Right.
I'm blanking on his name.
But I still feel like Justice League wasn't. I mean, Avengers was amazing. The first Avengers.
Yeah.
But Justice League, I didn't feel it the same way. I'm almost in ways that was very parallel to each other, like the alien force coming in.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Obviously, DC and Warner Bros. Were directly competing with Marvel. Like Disney, they wanted to have that shared universe. Like when the first Man of Steel movie came out, it wasn't to start a universe. It was it was just a movie.
Right.
And then they kind of like retconned and were like, oh no, this is the start of the universe.
Right. And
then they made the sequel of it. So the sequel to that started off, the Dawn of Justice.
Yep.
Started everything. So they had to kind of go back and be like, oh no, this was important because of this. And,
right.
I mean, there were a few Easter eggs in it. Like there was like one Batman thing in it. I think there was like a Wayne Enterprise satellite or something.
Yeah.
But you could tell they weren't intentionally setting things up. It wasn't like the first Iron Man movie where it was like, da-da, here's all these things going on,
right.
get ready for more movies,
with the dude in it. Thank you. Okay, no.
Eventually.
Yeah. So I guess that makes sense. But I think that's why a lot of those movies lagged a little bit just because of the director they chose. Like he did Man of Steel, and I honestly liked Man of Steel. But people just thought, well, I don't know if he's the greatest person to do this or not. But they just kept letting him do it. I mean, think of what would happen if Rian Johnson were still directing the next Star Wars. People would go insane, because he was just not good. It wasn't the greatest
movie at first they gave him a trilogy.
Yeah.
And then he backed out of that, or they backed him out, or whatever happened. Yeah. Thank God.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like I think that's the difference between them, because when Marvel chooses somebody and he does well, keep him going. Mm-hmm. But DC just has that issue where it wasn't the greatest movie, but we're still making money, so let's just keep him on it. Yeah.
It's all about money.
Yeah.
We've addressed this time and again, and when it comes to reboots and whatever else, it's always about money. It's like you want to make another movie because we know we can get money out of it.
Right. Exactly.
It doesn't matter if it's going to be a good movie or not.
Right. And that's the problem, I feel.
Yeah.
There's no love.
That's one thing I'm kind of excited about. There's a couple instances coming up of where there's actually multiple movies coming out in the same franchise but different universes. And we like Star Trek, there's if it's still gonna happen, the Quentin Tarantino one. As I don't love him, but like if he has a passion for something, he can do it, and it doesn't have to be connected to the show that's on.
Right.
Like that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then we're seeing that coming up with DC. We have a lot of other movies that have the Joker in it, Jared Leto, but then we also have the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie coming out relatively soon. I can't remember the date.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe next year, 2020, I think. And it's completely, there's nothing to do with the rest of the universe. I'm excited about it. It could be a really good movie because of that. Like, I think it's got some real potential because it doesn't have to be. It's not just they're not just making it because they want to make it. Like a filmmaker approached them and said, "I'd like to make a movie with one of your things. I have a passion for it. Let me do it." And they're letting them do it.
Right.
That's great.
And they should.
That's like one of the more hopeful parts of it.
Yeah.
But it's a double-edged sword. Because it's going to be so confusing to moviegoers. Seriously, because
it will, yeah.
I think I talked about this before in the Spider-Man episode where, people like us who are really into it, we're going to know the difference.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they see movies coming out, trailers, and they get exhausted with it.
Yeah.
I remember when Homecoming was coming out, some of my coworkers were like, oh, another Spider-Man movie, and I was like, but no, this is like a good one. It's different. And it's going to happen. So let's say somebody went and saw Suicide Squad and liked it. Let's imagine that as possible.
Oh, okay.
So someone and they're excited about seeing more Harley Quinn and the Joker. Let's just pretend. And so we're watching movies coming out, and they see, oh, there's another Harley Quinn movie coming out. And it's called Birds of Prey. She's gonna be in it with two other female superheroes.
Oh, cool.
And they're fighting Ewan McGregor, I think.
Oh. Okay, I guess I'm okay.
But then there's also Suicide Squad 2, which is going to be in it,
Yeah.
and with the Joker. And then there's also another one with her and other female villains called Sirens of Gotham, where she's with like Poison Ivy or something. And then there's also a Harley Quinn Joker spin-off movie.
Oh my god.
All these things. And then right in the middle of that, you also have a completely separate Joker movie, origin story. So people are going to see these things coming out, the trailers for them, posters, whatever. They might go to the theater. Oh, one of those Joker movies, and go see it and be completely confused about where it takes place.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm really concerned that's going to turn people off, and it's going to damage more projects like that coming out in the future because they're packing them so close together.
That is so strange. I honestly think, like, hearing that, like, if you put up a Marvel roadmap, and it's fairly linear, like, they had it planned out years in advance before they did it. It sounds like DC's just like, let's put this here. This sounds good. Yeah. You know, there's no real structure to it, and that's what happens is people's either they're going to lose interest or it's going to be bad because they're rushing things and they're trying to get it done. You know, I don't know.
So we're going into the future, and that's great. I want to get there. But real quick, let's backpedal, do one of our segments.
Oh.
Ratings, then and now.
Now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have here the Rotten Tomatoes scores for every Batman movie.
No.
And I'm including other ones, even that beyond the 3, just because it's all here anyway. So we have the worst one at 10% is Batman and Robin.
Oh, I guess
97.
Right.
Yep. And then a little surprising, but not too surprising. The next one is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, 2016.
Really? Okay.
27%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought it wasn't good, but that's low even for. I thought it was. Low.
Yeah. I guess I could see it.
Especially because right after that, supposedly better than it, Batman Forever, at 39%.
Boy, I don't know.
I know, right? Yeah. And then we have Batman: The Killing Joke, 2016.
Yeah.
Tied at 39%. And then we have Justice League at 40%.
Okay.
So just eking out those two. And then Batman in 1989. This is the first on the fresh side, 71%.
Okay.
And then we have Batman the movie, 1966. Just eking it out at 77%.
Okay.
Batman Returns surprised me. It beat Batman, 89.
Really? See,
here it is though, 80%.
Wow.
Just a little higher, 82. Batman Mask the Phantasm came out in 93. That was 83%.
Okay.
Batman Begins, 2005. That was 84%.
Wow.
Dark Knight Rises, 2012. That was 87%. The Lego Batman movie in 2017 was 90%. I think it's well deserved.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
It was really good.
Yeah.
I saw it with my kids and they loved it. It kept their interest the whole 2 hours. We went and saw it as a free family movie at the theater. They do in the summer times. Yeah. And I was worried about it because, if they get bored, we have to leave. They get too rowdy. They sat quite a long time watching. Wow. They loved it. And I thought it was great too. It had a lot of good humor for adults. And number one, no big surprise, 2008 Dark Knight. 94%. Of course.
I'm honestly surprised that the Returns was higher than Batman.
That surprised
me
too.
Very. I mean, I would have probably agree with it, but still, the 89 Batman is such a held in high regard. You would think it would be one of the highest, but yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of looking back, and I also have this other page here, a list looking forward at the DC movies coming out.
Are we making like projections of ratings or?
Well, we can make projections of what's going to happen. Yeah. But I just want to give you a quick list. So the next one coming out pretty soon here, actually this April, is Shazam. And it's going to be, if you've seen commercials for it, it's going to be a later take on superheroes.
Yep.
But interestingly enough, it's in the DCEU. It's in the same universe as Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and all of them. Okay. So I'm curious to see how that connects, honestly. Yeah. And then the next one coming out is Birds of Prey. And they did have a teaser trailer for it. It was just some I guess shots of them. It wasn't a lot. It was very, very short. But we have Margaret Robbie coming back as Harley Quinn. And then we also have a couple other Huntress and Black Canary are going to be with her. And they're going up against Ewan McGregor, who is the Black Mask.
Okay. And
interesting. This is obviously in the universe. And the next one that come out after that, this October, this seems kind of fast, but there it is Joker. Not the Joker. Joker.
Okay.
And this one is the Joaquin Phoenix, not in the same universe, but it's an origin story cast. Joaquin Phoenix, Zazie Beetz, Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro, really?
Yeah. Okay. Directed by the Hangover director, Todd Phillips.
Oh, okay. I don't follow the DC universe very much.
I don't as much, but I was doing research for this podcast.
Right.
So after that, coming out next, 2020, is Wonder Woman 1984. So this is going to be the sequel. Obviously, I've given a lot of grief to the DCEU, but Wonder Woman was a good movie.
It was.
I
It was very
enjoyed
good.
it. I didn't leave it loving it.
Yeah.
It had its flaws, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I didn't mention before that's kind of funny to me in Justice League is how many times she mentioned Chris Pine's character.
I know.
She brought him up like how many times?
Yeah.
It was like that was like 80 years ago.
Yeah.
How many like
I know.
move on a little bit. But so anyway, we get to fill in the gap a little bit there between World War I and
Yep.
modern day.
I'm all in.
84. Why
Yeah.
not?
Right.
So it should be kind of fun. Gal Gadot's obviously in it, and Christian Wiig's going to be in it too.
Oh.
And apparently Chris Pine's on the list. I just saw that now. I didn't see it before.
Okay.
Maybe in flashbacks.
Maybe they need to kill that. I don't like flashbacks.
Kristen Wiig's going to be the antagonist. So
Really?
should be fun. Yeah.
Überraschung. I
2020.
don't see her being an antagonist. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, so now getting the good stuff now.
Yeah.
I guess Joker too. In 2021 is the slated release date for The Batman, which is the DCEU.
You said 2021?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is Matt Reeves, director.
Okay.
And The Batman.
The Batman.
It's been in development for a while. I guess originally Ben Affleck was going to direct it and produce it and star in it, and then he backed off starring in it just to direct it and produce it. But now he's just producing it. He's still on board as like a producer or co-producer or something.
That's too much.
It's
like
strange.
if you're directing, producing, and acting, something's not going to be right.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm guessing it's going to be kind of an origin story. They're going to get someone younger and kind of go back in time.
Oh, okay.
That's my guess. Kind of just looking at it since they're recasting. Like, why else did they recast it?
That is weird. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just?
It must be.
Just because they don't like Ben Affleck, but why is he still producing that? So I'm guessing it's going to be like a younger Batman, and I think that'd be fun to see.
Yeah.
And see that, like I talked about before, the suit with the haha. See
Yeah.
what happened there, maybe, or maybe something else.
Hopefully.
Who knows?
I really would like to. I would like there to be a Robin that we like. Like seriously, like bring in what's his name, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Different universe.
I know, but he would have been the perfect Robin.
He was good.
I feel.
I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, I know I do too. And why not?
Yeah.
Let's make it a love of Robin. That's what we need. You know.
So in the great tradition of Batman, though, in the older 4 ones, same actor for Alfred.
No, he's dead, isn't he? You mean Michael Caine?
No, from the DCEU.
From the
the Batflex.
DCEU. Oh.
Same Alfred. So just
Okay.
like they changed Batman in the 90s, but they had same Alfred. Same Alfred.
Same
different
Alfred.
Batman.
Interesting.
Isn't that funny?
That is really weird.
So like maybe we aged down, or maybe it just maybe they still don't like Ben Affleck anymore. I
Yeah.
don't know what's gonna happen. I've heard Matt Reeves, the director, said he's gonna try to make it more of a cerebral detective story.
Cool.
So I'm excited about
That'd
it.
be good, yeah.
Hopefully it's good. you
Jeremy
know?
Irons. That was his name. He was Alfred.
Oh.
Jeremy Irons serial.
And then I shit you not, the next one is The Suicide Squad.
This is why people get confused. I'm telling you. Like, it's like, why would you say it that way? It's because they label it 10 different ways.
So 2021, The Suicide Squad.
But that's Suicide Squad 2, right?
I guess.
Like,
I don't
it's
know
not a
anymore.
reboot of Suicide Squad already?
No.
Okay. That's what we don't need.
But like, why would you call it
Yeah,
that?
I don't get that.
So interesting tidbit here. Disgraced former director of Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn, is going to be directing this. I guess they're okay with him making jokes about pedophilia.
Yeah,
so
okay.
they hired him as that. For those of you who don't know, he was the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
Yep.
And they found tweets of him making quote-unquote jokes, repeatedly, multiple jokes about being a pedophile.
Yeah.
And he used some really offensive language for other groups of people, like transgender people.
Jeez.
And they got rid of him. But Warner Brothers is like, come on board. So he's doing that.
Oh, man.
And then we have The Flash. I've also heard it could be called Flashpoint for a while. I remember
Flashpoint,
that,
okay,
but here in this list it says The Flash.
The Flash.
Dates to be announced. I'm looking through the information, but it's not.
Because so far it's just been The Flash on CW, right? Is that the channel it's on or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's, obviously the television universe is a whole different thing. Arrowverse is 100% separate from the movies.
And one of my friends tried to get me to watch Arrow, and I probably watched the first season. For me, TV shows, like I would watch The Punisher on Netflix. I would watch Nick Cage. Those were good.
I love those movies. I've watched all the Netflix Marvel movies. Those are shows.
For me, the Netflix shows are amazing.
Yeah.
But when I try to go to DC and watch one of those shows, it doesn't
it's different audience base.
It's a younger
television. It's CW.
Well, and but I always feel like they're programmed more for like the tweens.
Oh yeah, that's CW.
And I just can't watch it. It's weird to me.
I watched a couple episodes of Flash. My older son loves the Flash. He dresses up like him all the time.
Okay.
So he saw on Netflix scrolling through. He saw that it was on there. He really wanted to watch this. We watched a couple episodes.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not geared towards 5-year-olds.
No.
So he was having time following it, but he liked the scenes where he was being the Flash running around. He was really excited about that. So I've seen a little bit of that. It wasn't awful.
Team Quicksilver.
And I've heard.
Sorry.
Flash is faster.
Oh.
I'm just saying, it's fact. Canon.
Oh, sorry.
So the Flash TV show obviously is different than DCEU, but what's interesting about that universe is that it's shared with the old Flash TV series from
back.
I want to say the
back in a way.
70s.
Yeah.
That actor, the Flash from that show, is actually a character in the show as like a different version of.
That's
It's really
cool.
interesting.
That
It's
is
really
really
weird.
cool, yeah.
So I've talked about it with people that actually watch it, and they think it's really interesting. And then it also crosses over with Arrow and Supergirl, and then Gotham separate though. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff.
Don't even get me started on Gotham. I just can't.
I
tried. The only thing good about the Gotham show, if we can get on that for a minute, is the kid that plays the Joker. That was it. I honestly what's his? Because he's in Shameless. He was the little kid in Malcolm in the Middle. I can't remember his name either. The redhead kid. Yeah, I can't remember. But anyways, he is amazing at playing the Joker. Like you feel his insanity. Yeah, yeah, it's him.
Huh.
Yeah.
So anyway, next on the list is there's Batgirl to be announced.
Yep.
Apparently there's a TV show called Batwoman coming out, and apparently they're different people. I didn't realize that until recently.
Oh, okay.
So then there's Green Lantern Corps, and we've seen some Green Lantern Corps stuff in the opening fight scene in Justice League from the past. So they're definitely in the universe. It sounds like there's going to be 2 different Green Lanterns in the movie, so that should be interesting. Because it's not just Green Lantern.
There's not just one, yeah.
There's going to have 2 of the more popular Green Lanterns are going to be in there.
Okay. Because we know that movie did so well.
Obviously, the Ryan Reynolds one was awful, but this is
I know.
It's a reboot.
You.
To be announced. To be decided, actually, this one says, is New Gods.
Ah.
I'm not familiar with that story, honestly.
Because I think that would be interesting, too, to see in Wonder Woman when they're all fighting the gods. Or not the gods, but was Darkseid or Steppenwolf? It was Steppenwolf. And he came down, they were all fighting, and the gods had to help fight him to, destroy. I think that'd be a cool movie to watch.
Oh, yeah. It's like Zeus was fighting in that scene.
Yeah, helping them, and it was...
Yeah, well, Steppenwolf works for Darkseid.
Atlanteans.
Right.
That's why I got him confused, because Darkseid's like the main, like Thanos.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Everything goes back to Marvel. I'm sorry. It's just an easier roadmap. We know what's going on.
The next one on this list is called Black Hawk, and it's directed by possibly Steven Spielberg.
Really?
And this is another superhero team that I didn't know about, honestly, until I was reading about this. It takes place in World War II, and they're pro fighter pilots. You should love this, Eric.
Oh, man.
So they're not even superheroes so much. They're just really good fighter pilots and like soldiers.
I would watch that.
So I guess they have a storied history throughout the comic books coming back now and again, but they haven't been really done in movies. And Steven Spielberg, so hey.
Dang, I would watch that. As long as it's not Poe Dameron.
Untitled Jared Leto Joker movie to be decided. Untitled Joker/Harley Quinn movie to be decided or announced.
Why make them different? I don't get that. We're already making origin stories. Why?
Well, maybe it's Jared Leto's origin story, not the Joaquin Phoenix origin story. Who knows? There's so many. It's ridiculous.
Can't do that. That's too much.
Supergirl to be announced. Nightwing, that's on the site.
That'd be a good one.
So we might get that. It doesn't say when it's going to come out. Could be for a long time, but they could move it up. Justice League Dark, which is not a sequel to Justice League. Justice League Dark is a totally different group of superheroes.
Like After Dark?
They're like, they have like magic and stuff.
I don't know if I like that. But it's not like saying Superman has magic, right? They're different people.
They're different people.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, that doesn't sound
different
good at
group
all.
of heroes.
Why?
Here's Gotham City Sirens, I mentioned before.
Oh, yeah.
And this one's, I said it right before, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, and it says female centric, but doesn't say anything.
Okay.
Blue Beetle is on the slate.
Oh.
Plastic Man.
Just
keep coming.
Where's the ventriloquist?
Untitled Man of Steel sequel. I thought Batman Superman was a sequel to that, but whatever.
I would watch. The whole reason I liked Man of Steel was because the Krypton scenes. Honestly, I felt like that and the General Zod, whatever his name is, I can't remember. He's such a good actor. No, what the actor that played him? I can't remember his name. He is such a good actor. I loved him in Boardwalk Empire. Amazing. And I think if the movie has a good bad guy and like you believe him, like you said, Ra's al Ghul, he knows he's the good person. I feel like it's the best movie in the world. Like it has that effect. You believe it more.
Oh, yeah, villain's super important.
Yeah,
super movie especially. Next up here is Untitled Deathstroke movie, and Deathstroke of course appeared in the end after credit scene of Justice League. So it's like he's definitely around, but it's slated. The movie's slated for like years off now.
See, that's dumb. We don't need 8 different versions of Joker before that. That's important.
But we're getting it.
I know. That's.
The orders might not be right. Always to be announced ones. It's hard to say.
True.
This one's interesting. Untitled Black Adam movie.
Really?
Wasn't super familiar with Black Adam before, but apparently he's in the Shazam orbit. He's like a bad guy or anti-hero or something in there. Played by Dwayne Johnson.
Okay, now I don't know if I'm in there.
Eric Rolling
I don't know. I feel like there's too many on The Rock. Don't get me wrong, I like The Rock. There's certain things I like him in.
The Rock's there.
There's just too many movies of him as a tooth fairy or just not taking him seriously. I don't know. I just don't know if I can take it seriously. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it's a good movie.
Hopefully. We'll see how Shazam. Maybe Shazam is going to be a fantastic movie and
Maybe.
sprout all these sequels.
Maybe.
Who
I kept
knows?
thinking, didn't he go to the White House and wasn't he a genie? It took me so much time to figure that out. It was Kazam and not Shazam.
Okay.
Wasn't it like Shaq and when he was some kid he was helping out and he was a genie? No, it's Kazam.
Untitled Lobo movie. Cyborg solo movie, which I'm surprised it's taking so long to get there.
Yeah, see, again, like the main characters of the movie, they don't have their own movie.
Yeah, DC definitely took a different route
That is so
in
weird.
having the shared movie and then doing their own movies after it.
That's
With a couple
cool to
exceptions.
do.
I guess you don't have such buy-in. You get to spend so much of Justice League introducing each of these characters that it was hard to get into the story and flesh out the bad guy. For example,
True.
Steppenwolf was not fleshed out well.
No, he wasn't.
It was like he was a long time ago a bad guy, and now he's back.
Yeah.
Be scared of him.
Yeah, and the guy that played him, Syrian Hines, love him too. He's an excellent actor. I mean, I wish they not have made him fully CG.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had did something with makeup rather than make it a little more practical, I think it would have been a little bit better. But because I honestly thought his bad persona was good. It was believable. It was just that I don't think the movie fell together correctly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Again, all hinges on the bad guy.
So yeah, there's a look forward at the DC movies coming out and Batman included in there. Eric's lamenting now that we didn't talk about Mr. Freeze. And do you want to? We can go back to Forever and Batman and Robin.
One of the I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I actually did like Two-Face. I liked Tommy Lee Jones' version of Two-Face. A lot of people don't.
I like Billy D. Williams' version of Two-Face.
Yeah, you're right.
I read some kind of commentary I saw with him, and he said, when this movie's really good and we get some sequels, we'll love to have him come back as Two-Face.
Right.
Like that's why they made him Harvey Dent.
Okay.
Like it was intended to do that.
Yeah.
But when the directors changed, they just cast someone else.
Yeah. No, I don't think he did.
Billy
either,
Williams
but...
was really famous at the time. It was big, and it was good to have him.
Sure.
He would have been great as Two-Face if he would have had a shot, But after the director changed, Tim Burton left. I think he's the one that said it to him. So once he was gone, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
And he wasn't in the second one, so there wasn't a thread line there. Not that it matters. Everyone changed actors in the Batman movies in those ones anyway, except for
Alfred.
Pennyworth.
Mr. Pennyworth. Yeah, I don't know. I just I always felt like I think it's more the actor than the Two-Face himself, but him playing that person again, I felt like it was good.
Yeah.
Nolan's Two-Face was like I would legitimately believe he went insane because of that.
Yeah, I mean he like you said, he talked to the one he loved most, tell her something okay and lie to her, and like it was deep, And
it was.
He's obviously he was flawed before, like I said before, he was already kind of flawed. He had some weird views, but he was also like super gun ho and ready to jump into anything. And they were like, oh, he's probably out of town by now. And he walks in with the thing, and so it showed that he was resilient and he's gonna keep coming back. So even after that explosion, he comes back and he was just a different person.
Yeah,
I liked it.
and I like it. I think I like the finality of using a coin to make your decisions. I don't know. I think
and it wasn't like he kept flipping until he got one they liked.
Right.
And he'd flip it and it was like.
That's
all right.
it.
But if he had a logical way to get out of it too, like the driver not so lucky,
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Because he's like, oh, is it you? No, but I'll check. Yeah. I remember that.
But he let Ramirez live.
See, I have to. Yeah.
I guess Joker.
That's right. Yeah. So and it's I don't know. We really haven't seen a parallel for the Riddler yet, which maybe we never will. I don't know. Maybe, but that would be interesting to revisit. I think.
I'd love that. I've always loved the Riddler.
The Riddler, he's a good character.
He's one of the only ones that is the equal to the greatest detective when it comes to intellect and deductive reasoning. I love that. Mm-hmm. He really plays on that part of it.
Why not? And they actually play that in Forever, I feel, really well. The contrast between Bruce Wayne knowing he's better, he thinks he's the better person, but Enigma like, no, I'm the better.
There's some good stuff.
There
there
is.
There's enough. You can squeeze some blood out of those rocks. Those two movies. There's some good stuff there, but it's just cloaked in so much other stuff.
It really is. It is. But that's what I'm thinking. Like the movie itself wasn't the greatest, but I feel like the characters, the villains, Batman himself, even yes, it's Val Kilmer. He still was a good Batman.
Val Kilmer and George Clooney both did decent jobs as Batman. I don't know. They get a lot of crap for it, but I thought they did okay.
I would still say
you place them in a really terrible situation.
Exactly.
You get so much out of it.
And in the writing too, though, because even though Val Kilmer was a good Batman. He was dark and brooding. I felt like he wasn't happy. George Clooney comes along and he's campy. He's funny. He's, makes one-liners. I agree with the Rotten Tomatoes on that it was probably the worst Batman ever.
Sure.
But
sure. You gotta, and the bad guys, both the movies were they took up so much space.
Yeah.
That he had to kind of play that straight man
Right.
role, which was what happened in the old Adam West. He took the bad guys really seriously, even though they were so campy.
Yeah.
And that's what allowed, especially younger people, to take the bad guys seriously, because he was straight during all of it. He was flat, and it worked really well because his bad guys are all so zany. You got Oscar Romero, all those other people.
Yeah.
So it's the tradition there, and I think it worked pretty well. I mean, Batman lives in a world of just zany stuff, and he has to be some kind of contrast. Otherwise, he's just another bad guy.
Yeah. Okay, so favorite Batman out of all of them? Do you have a favorite?
I think it might be Batman Begins.
Batman. So Christian Bale.
Oh, favorite actor?
Yeah.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
For
Okay.
Sure.
I gotta say Michael Keaton.
Because it's either Begins or Dark Knight, probably for me.
Oh, the Batman movie. Okay. Yeah. I would agree with that. I still have to say Michael Keaton. I think I love him as Batman, to be honest.
My second favorite.
Christian Bale was probably my second, but obviously. Favorite Batman villain?
Like from the movies.
Yeah. Well, any
like iteration. Yeah.
Sure.
Like not like villain in a broad sense of a villain, like actual iteration of a villain.
Iteration of a villain. Yeah.
What's yours? Let me think for a second.
I have to say the Penguin. I really like the Penguin.
Big grin on your face right now. Okay, why?
I don't know. His iteration again. We only have seen Danny DeVito's iteration.
Yeah.
Again, when I go back and watch it, he's so insane that I like that. I like the feel. He almost says as if he's playing it like that's him. Like you can't differentiate the two. I honestly, really, like I do love Joker. Don't get me wrong, I love Joker, but even I would say Mark Hamill's my favorite Joker out of all the Jokers.
Sure.
So I mean, we don't see him.
The animated series, and the movies,
animated series, and then all the games.
The games too.
Honestly, he's probably my favorite Joker. I laugh so hard when I play that game at his Joker, and you're not supposed to. He's insane, but it's funny.
Yeah, well, that's the point. He makes bad situations funny.
And that's the thing. I think it's. I'm always more attracted to the dark side than I am the light, I guess. But so I feel like that's why I like him, just because he's that much more insane than any of the other villains.
Okay.
So you believe him.
Sure.
Basically.
Interesting. Yeah, my favorite villain overall is probably Riddler, but as far as iterations go, Jim Carrey Riddler isn't perfect. So it's hard for me to.
Even though he could have been a good pick for that, because I feel like the Riddler isn't supposed to be funny. Really, he's not happy-go-lucky. He likes to make riddles.
Yeah.
So I guess I could see that too.
I might have to go with the Nolan Two-Face.
Two-Face,
as far as iteration.
That's a good one.
It was really solid.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the first time seeing his face in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
Because in the advertising, it was all Joker.
Yep.
You knew Two-Face was in it, but they didn't release a single still of him. They kept it so close to the chest.
Yep.
And going and seeing it like in a big screen, and we turned his face that first time in the bed, and it was
I know.
oh my god, so cool! Like it's always stuck with me. The effects held up. It looks really good to this day.
It does, yeah. And because normally when you see Two-Face, it was just his face was disfigured, but this was literally he's
burnt.
He's burnt. He's missing parts of his neck skin.
Yeah,
you can see his tendon, and it's like
gives him that because some of his lips and mouth are gone. He has that grimace on the one side all the time. Like so it's grimacing in pain. It's really I liked it a lot.
That is good, yeah.
His eyeball all bulging out. Oh, gives me creeps. But yeah, that
wish he was in it more.
I do. I wish it was a lot more.
Yeah.
Where is Harvey Dent?
Oh.
Didn't we have like
grievances?
Grievings. That's right.
We didn't do that yet.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
I think we've done it the whole time. Because we have so many problems with them.
I mean, I don't know. Like in Power Rangers episode, like we started the grievances and we never left it because we just.
That's right. We kept going. Yeah. Some movies weren't it, I guess.
This isn't that case. We've been saying a lot of good stuff about.
We have. Well, can you think of one thing you hate the most out of all of the movies? It's specifically two movies.
Yeah. Just the blatant misogyny in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Mm-hmm. Like I said before, it really sucks because it makes it hard for me to be able to share it with my kids and have that experience I had when I was a kid. The stuff besides that stuff that I want them to see, the fun Batman stuff.
Right.
I also, one of my big grievances, I talked about this already, I guess, but the way DC is packing in the stuff especially having that alternate version of Joker, the Joaquin
Yeah.
Phoenix. As much as I think it might be a good movie, it's gonna muddy the water,
Yep.
and it's gonna make things really hard to follow. And
Yep.
when there's so many between Joker and Harley Quinn, apparently I can't believe she's in like 5 movies coming up.
I know. Doesn't make any sense.
Like what? Like why is there Birds of Prey? And I don't want to sound like there shouldn't be more than one female-led. That's
No.
fine, but that she's in both of them. That's
Yeah.
what gets me.
You have
like,
to
Birds of
approach
Prey and Sirens of Gotham.
Right.
She's in both of them.
Yeah.
Like why?
Right.
Let's let another female,
Make it all one movie.
someone else come in there.
Yeah.
That's powerful, you know. So. I mean, they can have 2 movies, but I don't understand why Harley Quinn has to be in both of them.
Right.
And then she's also in the Harley Quinn and Joker.
Right. That's, again,
And Suicide Squad.
the roadmap
too.
is so...
Or the Suicide
right.
Squad or whatever
It's
gonna be.
so littered with other things that people are going to lose the actual track.
Yeah.
You know?
That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I feel it is. I honestly think the reason that Justice League was made first before all of the singles is because they saw how much money the Avengers made.
Oh, yeah.
And
No
it's
doubt.
just like, man, let's do that.
Let's jump to the gun.
Let's just get it over there. You know,
Batman and Superman, and then go to
Right.
Justice League, you know.
Everybody knows who Wonder. I mean, it could be because everybody knows the origin stories of Wonder Woman and Batman, but Cyborg we don't. I mean, really, what movies have established that? What TV shows have established that? You know, just the comics.
Or even Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman had a show, but
Yeah.
I don't know how many people walk around thinking, oh, yeah, her origin story was that she was an
Yeah.
Amazon princess.
Yeah.
And, like, that's not as much in the cultural...
I thought Amazons were from Amazon. Honest, because I heard it in James Bond once. I was like, oh, okay, the Amazonians, you know.
Yeah, nope.
So yeah. Obviously, we've already talked about. I don't want to know how they died. Any of his parents died anymore. I'm done with it. I'm over it. We know. Yeah. The other thing is obviously the campiness of Forever and Batman and Robin. I think they were trying. I don't know. Again, maybe it was just the time period in the 90s. Everything was like that. But it was trying to. Again, it was trying to be that grandiose. They were trying to make that gothic architecture to make everything larger than life or larger than it seemed. And it may have also been the characters that the people that they hired to do that. George Clooney probably wasn't the best Batman, and the only reason that they had Christopher, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Christopher,
what?
The Robin. Who was Robin?
Christopher Robin?
No, his real
Winnie
name.
the Pooh?
No, his real name was Christopher something. And he was like the hot actor at the time. That's the only reason he did Robin. But, and same with Alicia Silverstone, who was Batgirl or Batwoman or whatever. She was in Clueless. Everybody loved Clueless at the time. So that's what they loved. You know, that's what they put her in there. I hate that. I hate the fact that they're a hot actor, so let's put them in it rather than let's choose the correct actor to do it. Let's take the time. DC Universe, are you listening? Let's take the time to actually do it correctly rather than jump to conclusions, and jump to crap that people aren't going to like it just because it makes money. I don't know. I hate that. I hate it.
I 100% agree.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
I was opening up Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Getting ready for
Twitter check.
And
it's like Sega Twitter check.
Yeah, that's
Do
what he
something like
always
that.
do.
Yeah, okay.
So here's one tweet from @Ben Affleck, the official account from the 30th. Excited for #TheBatman in summer 2021 and to see @Matt Reeves' vision come to life. So he's still looking like he's still affiliated with it.
Far out. That seems like so far away. Like we have to get to Star Wars first, then we worry about that.
When is The Last Star Wars coming out?
December of 2019, this year. And okay, we can't get on that. This is Batman show.
Let's see. #TheBatman. So let me check this real quick and see if everything's on here. A lot of people speculating who the Batman's going to be, who Bruce Wayne's going to be.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
While you're looking that up. Because now I'm thinking, could this be like Batman Beyond?
So like in the future.
So like, yeah, he's...
the next Batman.
Because the whole time they've been establishing, I'm getting older, I can't handle this.
It's true. It might not be a prequel after all.
I mean, it could be cool if it was a prequel, but what else could they tell? Just like how we already know how the origin story. So the next thing would be he's older and he's training an apprentice.
That's could be cool. Yeah.
Of course, then why isn't there Robin in it? I don't know. It's so...
Here's a tweet from @713AU from 2 days ago. 850 days left before #TheBatman.
Oh my god.
So 848 days left now. Be excited.
See, and I feel like people would be more excited for a Batman movie than let's have all these weird side movies with people that are kind of B characters for the Batman universe. It seems weird to me. Like they'd make more money if they focus on Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg.
But they want an expansive, crawling with hero space like Marvel has.
And I get that. And I get it.
And you know what? When the Marvel universe started, because they had sold off Spider-Man and X-Men rights. You know, Iron Man was a B-list superhero, and most of the ones that are in the Avengers now, except for Captain America, largely B-list.
Yeah.
And no one thought it was going to work, but it worked. And they keep bringing in more and more superheroes that are even more fringy. They make a great movie, but they make a great solo movie, and you like them.
That's the point.
And then they go into the other one.
I would want to see a Cyborg movie first and a Flash movie first before we do any of the side stuff.
Flash, I understand, because he is pretty well fleshed out.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean,
in the TV show.
He's
and all
had
that.
movies, TV shows of the years, and went on right now, so like that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cyborg for sure.
Cyborg.
And the fact that
which there really isn't an origin
Batman
story for
didn't
him.
get an origin. Like it just they put them all together. It was just strange. I don't know.
I mean, again, Batman, we know the origin story of that, but see, Cyborg, I feel like maybe they did do the origin story already because, which they're going to make another movie, obviously. But in Justice League, it was literally, I got in a car accident, my dad put me back together with this thing. Here I am.
Yeah.
Like there really wasn't much of an origin, so most of the movie would be focused on him going to school and playing football and being an athlete or whatever, and then dying in a car accident. And
maybe, I mean, we saw.
So I feel like that's what his origin story would be, though. You know, there's not much to it other than that.
Oh, so yeah, maybe they wouldn't show that then.
Right. So maybe that they don't need to show it because that was his origin story.
Yeah, or they can filter it in through some memories, like Aquaman.
Right. Right.
Like Aquaman took place after it.
Yeah.
But they had scenes that took place before to kind of fill in the gaps a little bit. And then you got like Spider-Man: Homecoming in the Marvel universe where they didn't even talk about it at all. They didn't, not even in flashbacks.
Which is good.
It was great.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big rumor right now in the last few days is that Robert Pattinson is going to be the new Batman. That's like the rumor. So that's what everyone's kind of posting about.
Let me guess. He's going to be the Joker. We're going to have 8 different Jokers.
No, Batman.
Oh, he's going to be Batman. Oh, okay.
That's like thing right now.
I don't know if I like that.
There's a range of responses to it's a rumor.
Okay.
People saying, oh, yeah, I can see it. Oh, he'd be perfect. Or I don't know about that. Or oh, screw you. So, you know.
Oh, that one, yeah. There's always that one guy.
I mean, people have a lot of baggage with him because of Twilight.
Yeah.
But you know, he's not that bad of an actor.
He's not.
He was a bad actor in Twilight.
Yes.
I mean, he wasn't.
Twilight was bad itself.
He was giving bad material to work with. In like Harry Potter, he was younger even. He was still good. And he's been in I saw him in some smaller parts.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at it. I think he could be fine.
That was the first time, because when Twilight came out, I was like, okay, I can't watch this. I tried and I couldn't. But then, and I thought I'd never like anything he was in. And then when I saw him as Cedric Diggory, I almost cried when he died.
Yeah. Well,
I was like, oh my god.
You should.
That's sad. Yeah, but it wasn't like I hated him, so I was like glad he died. You know, I felt bad, even though I liked Lord Voldemort better than anyone. And let's go to the phones.
We should have stage a call on it. Like, oh, someone's calling in. Have like Ben call us or something. Like, yeah, we're totally live right now. Go ahead, caller.
Wait, I have a slot for that somewhere.
Do you have a phone jack in your mixer board there?
No, but I have an input for FX, and we can go to this is called the control room, so there can be other parts of that connected.
Control room?
Yeah, because there's supposed to be someone that's producing it, and we're just supposed to be talking. We're not fancy.
That's what post-production is, I guess.
Exactly.
You know what I have on my phone now?
What? Oh my god. We can be DJs.
Remember we talked about in the Spider-Man episode about how Flash had the other Flash made that sound when he was DJing, and I had to like go on YouTube and find a version of it to have a clip drop into the thing, and later I was like, I'm gonna look for an app, and then I've had it ever since.
It's so like that's the thing among DJs. It's so predominant.
I don't know.
Honestly,
yeah,
and I don't get it. It's stupid. Yeah. There's a show I listen to on the way home on Friday nights. Yeah. It's called Friday Night Heat. And
of course it is.
And there's a DJ on there that he's like he's making good music, like it's really good and you listen and love it. But in between him talking, he go beep 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 like that sound. I'm like, hey, DJ, whatever. I'm like, no, it's unnecessary. Just say who you are, Don't break up the music. It sounds stupid. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh my god.
It's just so fun.
DJ Flash.
What else do we have to do? Are there any other segments? Did we finally beat this dead horse?
Sorry.
I did get out from the last episode. In the Power Rangers one, you did. Hey guys, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
It was so perfect. I clipped it out and saved it for future episodes.
Oh,
I might put it in this one. I might put it in right here. But I might not.
Yeah, look below, guys. Hit like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Be sure to comment.
So we're doing it, I guess. So let's do the outro. I'm Nathan Grayjack.
Do it again.
Hey, I'm doing my creds here.
That's right.
You can find me on Twitter at Grayjack, and you can find this show at Survival. Damn it!
Okay, start over. Cut.
You can find the show at Revival_podcast because Revival Survival is taken. So the show's at Revival_podcast. I am at Greyjack.
I don't have anything.
Yeah. So. You have a Twitter.
I do, I think, and I have an Instagram.
Yeah. Zajac3031, I think is
something.
What it is.
I don't use it. Maybe I'll use it.
Once in a while, because I'm the only person, obviously, that does the Revival Podcast Twitter account.
In charge of social media.
I gave you the password to it.
Did you?
Yeah. Of course. We're both in this together, but you never post on it. So sometimes I'll at both of us and say, like, Nathan at Greyjack and Eric at Zajac3031. So that's why I know it, because sometimes I have to type it in.
I must not get those.
But, like, if you don't check your Twitter, you don't see it.
I only get tweets from, what's his name, from Malcolm in the Middle. Honestly, because when I started Twitter, I was going through people I liked, and I only ever get it from him.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I know you liked our Twitter.
Yeah, I liked our Twitter.
I think you liked my page, too.
I must never get it, though, because I never see it. So I'll look at it.
Anyway, and then also, we post our podcast on YouTube.
Yep.
And also the link to the MP3 is always posted on Twitter and in the description on YouTube. Honestly, it's probably one of the best ways to get it. Subscribe to my YouTube account. It's just Nathan Greyjack. You can search for that, or you can search for Revival Survival, and it should come up. I have a playlist of 5, soon to be 6 episodes.
6 episodes.
Yeah, of this is number 6.
That's an anthology.
Is it?
I think so, yeah.
It has to be 6 to be an anthology?
I don't know. I don't know.
I know.
More than 3.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, like your video, comment on stuff. I think we've had 1 comment in our videos ever, and it makes me sad.
And we love you.
So, to the 5 people that listen, comment on it. We really appreciate it. We love doing this.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Hey, what's up, guys? Like and subscribe.
Give us
money.
I messed up. No, yeah, give it. No.
No, I can set up a PayPal for us, I guess, if you want to donate.
No, but give it in the comments. Give us ideas if you want to hear a specific show. Yeah. Let us know. We love that.
So I think we're gonna do Roseanne next.
Yes.
That's been on a docket for a long time.
Yep.
That's one of the first things we talked about doing back when we first started doing this. We're like, let's do Roseanne when it comes out. And then, well, I have a lot to say about Roseanne, but we'll say it all, I think, in the next episode.
Absolutely.
The good, the bad, and the very ugly.
Yeah.
But as far as after that, we're pretty open. I haven't told you this yet. This is totally new, but I was thinking we should totally do Aladdin when it comes out, because I love the old one.
That'd be good.
But that's not for a little while yet. Yeah. So if you guys have any ideas for things to do in the meantime, let us know. We're smart, but gosh, we need ideas too.
Yeah, run out of ideas. We'll never run out of reboots, but we may run out of ideas. So.
Which ones do we want to do? Yeah. It takes a lot of time to prepare for this. We gotta actually like it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to do. Power Rangers was kind of hard because I didn't like it as much. So it's hard to prepare for because I didn't want to watch it.
It really is.
I had to. But I know people like it, so I wanted to do it. Obviously, if a lot of people request something that I don't necessarily like, I'm willing to watch it and do it. But so far we've done stuff we just like, Yeah. We'll probably do another episode of Star Trek eventually. We did one, but there's so much more stuff going on, more news for new reboots coming out.
So much.
New shows, the Picard show. I'm excited about that. We gotta do a Picard show episode, right?
Oh god.
So and then the Lower Decks. We gotta do that kind of stuff.
That'd be a good one.
I'm excited about that. Okay, so thanks everyone. I am Batman and the Night.
And I'm Eric, I think.
Thanks.
Bye.